we have the wonderful, the glorious Matt Mercer with us today.
Ah! Thank you very much for having me.
It's like the boxing ring. Instead of Kana's Korner, it's Kana's death match.
Ooh,
I think for some reason that Sandy might be a better opponent than me.
Well, time will tell.
Now, a lot of the IRC is going nuts, and a lot of our fans are going nuts because this week we said we were having a sort of There Will Be Brawl week, so they're fully aware of what it is. And can you explain your role on that?
I am the director of There Will Be Brawl, primary editor for a good part of the series. I also play the voices of Kirby, Meta Knight, and the actor who portrays Ganondorf in the series.
Now, I wonder, what inspired you to make such a sort of dark and twisted tale? I was saying yesterday to Lily Alexandra, it's kind of like, seeing Mickey Mouse die. It's a little disturbing.
It actually began from Zach, my writer and co-creator of the series, who was having a conversation with friends while playing Smash Brothers Melee and discussing how disturbing it was that Kirby literally eats people and wears their head. And it got into this long discussion about how Kirby is really, in essence, a very messed up character when you consider that, and it began comparisons to Silence of the Lambs. And that was the original inspiration, was to bring the Kirby character into that realm. He brought the idea to me, and we began discussing this project, like a small, simple internet project, 3 episodes, 5 minutes an episode, and we sat down and did a breakdown of all the different characters that were going to be in Brawl, and those that weren't going to be, and came up with reasons why they wouldn't be. What would be an interesting kind of dark HBO crime drama take on the Nintendo universe, and find out ways to deconstruct both the model of the world and a lot of the character personalities we've grown familiar with, and to make it different and interesting, and just for the sake of that grim, dark, evil, twisted realm that we're trying to portray, to make it fit without being too jarring when you actually get to see the characters in that world.
I mean, it took me a while to get into it personally because, I'm usually so happy-go-lucky, and while I like my good share of horror, this is like watching, a lot of people's problems and drama and, go spiraling down the tube. Was that ever your intention to, sort of shove people into this dark world? Kind of.
I myself, I'm very much a positive person at any given point in time. I'm the eternal optimist, and I have no real dark part in me, at least not yet. We'll see how Los Angeles treats me in the next few years. But also in that regard, that's what made it very interesting for me as well, that it allowed me to explore elements of character development and storytelling that I hadn't had a lot of experience with. And also, I'd just gotten into the HBO show The Wire. If anyone out there is familiar with it, it's a fantastic show, and if you have Netflix, definitely worth checking it out. But it's a crime drama in Baltimore. It's just so real, and it's not all dark per se, but there's elements of real life that are very intriguing because it's so dark and so dismal at points in time, and watching people climb through that and still come out on top in some cases. It's very interesting. And at that time, I was very inspired by that show. And when the project came to us and began discussing it, it's very dark, and it's very twisted in many cases. And while not normally my cup of tea, I found that even parts where I can wince at when watching, I find it interesting because it takes characters that have, for the most part, been fairly one-dimensional. I grew up with and enjoying, but still adding layers and elements to them where now I can't even look at half or most of Nintendo's roster without having an entirely different opinion than I used to.
Oh yeah, people are doing strip dances, and some might be gay, or who knows.
Just it's a whole motley crew, really.
Now, you originally were only going to do 1 episode, am I correct?
We had shot the first 2 episodes. The general idea was to do 3 episodes with the typical internet, 5-minute limit, as everyone seems to keep attempting to place upon internet video, which I don't agree with, obviously, by looking at the series. So we shot 1 episode, began shooting the 2nd episode, and we just ran out of money. So it was all self-funded, and as things of this nature tend to become, it grew larger than we expected it would as we progressed with it. And it was like, okay, this is beyond us. All right, we'll just finish the first episode, put it online, see what people think, and maybe take it from there. And so that's what we did. It took us about 6 months of lazily getting around to finishing it after shooting it. Put it up online in September of '08, and within the first week we got front page Kotaku. We got 150,000 hits. It was just like, okay, I guess people do like this. And then we got hit up by Funny or Die, College Humor, people interested in taking the series and running with it. And The Escapists appeared with not only the most prominent fan base gear that the show was geared towards, but also just really understood what we were trying to accomplish with it. So he went with The Escapist, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Well, you seem to gotten massive acclaim on The Escapist. Do you think that was the best decision for you now that the series is all over and done with?
I really do. A lot of that stems from the fact that The Escapist is primarily a gamer-based community. If we had gone with any other website, a lot of people out there are gamers and such that involve themselves with the internet and video world, but The Escapist really, that's our people. That's our crowd. That's our target audience. Those are the people that would get the numerous quantities of inside jokes and video gamer lore that we instilled in that storyline. And so I couldn't think of a better audience to go ahead and bring the series to. So we were very happy and very lucky to have that opportunity.
Now, I was curious. We recently reported in our new show, iStock, Nintendo had taken down a fan trailer for a Legend of Zelda project. And were you, during the production of There Will Be Raw, ever worried that, Nintendo might step in and say, hey, we don't like this?
There's always that worry, that little bit of self-destructive mindset. You're like, oh, this is just going to, any week now, we're going to get that email, that cease and desist, and we're all just going to cry a river because we never got to finish it. But we tried to be very careful to make sure that we protected ourselves. Like, we did it all under the fair use. I can guarantee you we've made no money off this. Myself am far too much money in the hole after the final episode, but it's all been worth it. But our fears were always present, but we feel that we kept the project, the story, the character interpretations far enough into the realm of parody and far enough away from its original content that I think we're okay. Mind you, I mean, we got emails from Russ Pitts, the lead of video development at The Escapist, warning us after the whole Zelda film got taken down, and we're just like, fingers crossed, hoping to fly under the radar. Now, as far as under the radar goes, I know it's not under the radar because I've gotten emails from people who are actual employees of Nintendo up in, I think it's Redmond or Redwood, Washington, actually who are fans of the series. So I'm like, well, we've got a couple of sleeper cells in the Nintendo office. Hopefully they're helping protect us. But yeah, so it's definitely a worry, but we'll take it as it goes. I think we've done okay so far.
Well, that's good to hear. I mean, I think a lot of people would just cry in dismay if it was taken down.
Oh, I'd be joining them, trust me.
Oh. Well, I had actually a personal question about it. My curiosity just can't help but ask. But was there just like a midget in that Kirby outfit the whole time, or how did that work?
That was actually mostly me in the Kirby outfit whenever you saw it.
Was it really?
Yeah, it wasn't comfortable, I can guarantee you. In fact, we have some behind-the-scenes photos showing you just how cramped and uncomfortable it was. I designed the Kirby, like I said, back when the series was supposed to be a much shorter series, and didn't intend the Kirby scenes to be as long as they were. Because, yeah, it's pretty much just imagine, I don't know if you've played Street Fighter, but Dan has this losing pose where he's curled up in this tiny little ball crying. That's pretty much me inside the Kirby outfit. I can barely see my feet at the bottom. My knees are pressed against my chest. My hands are cramped and pressed on the inside at the top. And I reinforce the inside with foam and such, but I'm having to simultaneously hold it up with my neck and shoulders while controlling both the eyes and the mouth simultaneously with each hand and deliver lines. So in short, I never, ever, ever want to do that again.
And you see him for very short moments, if I recall, almost walking.
Yeah, that I still don't know how I did that. I might have been because I was close to passing out at the time due to the sheer amount of pressure on my spinal column. But yeah, I'm glad at some point it's a little more believable.
I was always curious about it. I was like, if they actually fit like some really tall dude in there, I'm just gonna be surprised. I assumed that they got a little kid or something because it just seemed more realistic to me, but to know that you were in that outfit is really surprising, and I hope you got to see somebody for your back.
Yeah. Actually, I took a nice rest over the Christmas break, but your idea would have been a much smarter thing, and well, we're just not that smart.
Well, you did have a star-studded cast, though. You had, Kyle Aber, you had Alexandra, you also had yourself. Did you know you were going to be an actor in There Will Be Brawl?
It was part of the original discussion. I'm primarily an actor for a living, but I've done mostly voiceover, and I wanted to do more on-screen work. So one of the discussions when we began the project was I wanted something in this that was fun and good enough to put on a film reel when you put it together. And then so we were discussing the project at the time. We're like, oh, what kind of character to work for? And we've been casting a few characters, and nobody could really come to mind for Ganondorf for us. And after like 2 or 3 discussions on a possible casting, I said, you know what? I'll give it a shot. I think it'd be fun, worthwhile. And then as the series progressed, it became a much more important character than I anticipated it would, and especially in the last episode where I'm pontificating for 10 minutes straight. But yeah, I want to be part of it. I didn't realize it would be such a primary part of the story, so I apologize for anybody out there who's, thinks that a director putting himself in a relatively large role in their own film is kind of snobby. I guarantee you that wasn't the original intent.
Don't worry, we believe you.
Yeah, I don't believe me, but thank you, I appreciate that. But no, we've been very lucky. We've had a fantastic cast. Kyle has been fantastic. I actually remember asking him after discussing plans for the Anime Expo Masquerade the year before that, and was like, hey, you want to be in a little web series? Like, sure. Little did he know.
He didn't have any idea what he got himself into.
I don't think any of us knew we were getting ourselves into, especially Matt Key, who plays Luigi. That poor guy has been, talking about time commitment, it's been a year. It's been a year for all of us, like pretty much consistent. So even though when it ended, we were sad to see it leave, many of us were celebrating the re-embrace of our social lives.
And then they had to deal with the nose cages, from what I know.
Oh. Yeah. This will be plenty of B-roll footage of, at the end of a night shooting and having both Matt Key and Paul Duraso tearing their noses off with just anger and frustration and crushing it in their hands and screaming to the heavens their victory.
I can breathe!
Oh, it's quite amazing.
But you had to be painted green and then had fake red hair put onto you as well, so I don't think that would be very pleasant.
It wasn't pleasant, but I called it my penance for forcing it upon the other actors. As the director, I'm like, it's okay. This is karma for me. I put you guys in noses. I get the whole endeavor.
Were there any other sort of funny little, makeup things that weren't that pleasant?
Oh, definitely. The application of any large amount of prosthetic is difficult. Jordan, who played our Bowser, the poor bugger, had to endure way too much time in the makeup chair, as well as DVD, who had to go in twice for it. But everyone was just good sports about it. There were little to no complaints, and it was surprising. I was really amazed at how lucky we were to have a cast that was so willing to go through such extreme processes to prepare themselves for a relatively minor web series. And I truly am blessed with the people that came on board.
Well, very awesome. And for anyone out there who hasn't seen it yet, shame on you. You can find it at escapistmagazine.com, or I also believe you have links to it on therewillbebrawl.com.
We do, although my computer's still down, so I'm trying to update to put episode 10 on there. So if you're looking for episode 9 on the main webpage, just go to The Escapist and check it out there, unless I get a chance to update this week. So sorry about that.
Well, we'll be right back. We're going to have a short song and dance. But when we do come back, we'll have an even better discussion about video games and all that fun stuff, because you know how much we love video games.
Yeah.
Only on 918 The Fan.
91.8 The Fan, home of Kana's Corner, the #1 live anime radio talk show. Interviews, guests, contests, and more. Don't miss your favorite voice actors, celebrities, and all your other favorites. Only on Kana's Corner. Weekdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Hey, you're listening to Kana's Corner on 918 The Fan, and if you missed it, I have a special guest with me today, Matthew Mercer.
I'm here. Hello.
He's a little shy. Don't attack. Not yet.
Just a little shy. It's okay.
That's adorable, by the way. I can't help but state that.
Good.
I actually was looking over, your lead roles, and I noticed that you were involved with the new Star Ocean game that came out.
Yes, I did the voice of Edge Maverick in Star Ocean: The Last Hope. It was a very fun project, actually. Got to go out to Shanghai, China for a month to record.
Ooh, world travel. How was that?
It was unprecedented. I had no idea what to expect. You always have those ideas from Hollywood, communist China, that kind of angry, oppressive world. No, it's completely chill and just fantastic. Like, the atmosphere was great. The food was amazing. People were great. The club scene actually was pretty hopping, and no, it was a great time. Got to stay in a really awesome flat on a high road and eat really, really, really good food that was probably really bad for me, but I didn't care because it was really delicious. And yeah, got to work on that with Laura Bailey. Kylie there also was part of that project. Michael McConaughey, a lot of really talented people on that. It was a fun project.
Did they send you any messages about, you might not be able to talk about it, but the new one's supposedly coming out in February?
I have nothing I can say about that, unfortunately.
Okay. But no, it's fine. We're used to it. But hopefully you'll get to play either, I don't know if you played the older one or the new one, but maybe you'll get to play one of those and see the difference for yourself.
Well, I myself I loved Star Ocean 2 back in the day. That was one of my favorite role-playing games on the original PlayStation. So it was like, getting to be part of that whole Star Ocean world was like, yes! Yes,
Star Ocean 2 I would definitely say is my favorite and the best out of the series. I adore that game. I still have my original PlayStation 1 copy because I'm such a loser.
Hey, so do I. It's right there in my closet. I can show it to you. Not that it would matter because we're on Skype, but you get the idea.
Was it different working on a video game than, say, either acting on film or, voiceover in anime or anything like that?
It's closer to anime voiceover than anything else. I mean, film acting and voiceover are two entirely different things. My friend Towson, he was as the director of Hellsing and Reader Die, and a number of other anime. He's been running a really, really cool way of putting it together where, film is acting, voiceover is not acting, it's emoting. Because when you're acting, you have other people to play off of. You have other individuals that you kind of lend your energy to each other and build a scene through that. Whereas voiceover, you're literally sitting by yourself in a booth, staring at a script, have your headphones on, and you have to completely recreate the scenario and the other characters in your head. And in many cases, you have no time to prepare, so it's an entirely different skill set. Why video games in some cases are closer to anime, especially Japanese games buttered to English, is because you're having to go through and match the performances, not only emotion-wise to the Japanese audio, but you have to get the length proper, and in some cases match lip flaps. So it's practically the same as dubbing anime for a lot of Japanese-based games. American-based games, were my personal preference, just because you're not dealing with an already animated or already cemented time frame. You can just play with it. You can do whatever you want to. You can take your time and be that interesting character all you wish, and not have to worry about, get it done in 9.5 seconds.
Well, sometimes, from what my understanding is, with American games, they allow you to be there from the beginning. So they, make sure that you're doing the motion capture for, like, the face or something. That way, when you're acting to it, it's a lot different, or it comes out, much more crisp and much more clear.
Definitely, and like I said, I enjoy working on both, and especially as a fan, a person who grew up a fan of Japanese anime and a lot of Japanese RPGs and such. It's a huge pleasure to be a part of that process, but it is kind of constraining. In many cases, it's a little frustrating at times when you don't have enough backstory about a scene, or you're not entirely certain of the context of what's going on, and the final product, like, oh, that I wish I had known that, or there's various avenues and that you wish you could have taken with a performance. But when you're working on American and primarily English projects, it's fully your own. I did motion capture and voice on a project called Rise of the Argonauts, I think it was.
Oh, yes, I know that one.
Yeah, I did one of the villain characters in there named Faden, and it was mocapped, and it was very interesting to watch this CG character pretty much have my mannerisms for the entirety of his sequence, and that was really interesting. The only other time that was weirder than that was I did a character in Ace Combat 4 called Albert Jeanette. It was like the main character, kind of the narrator, who was a reporter. And they did a complete face capture of that. So we had all my facial mannerisms and physical mannerisms, but they modeled his actual character off of, what's the actor's name from Fight Club and Hulk?
Oh, I'm terrible with movies. I watch anime, so I would not be helpful here.
Understood. Not a worry. But they model it after this actor, this Hollywood actor, and so watching the CG sequences of this Hollywood actor's face doing all my mannerisms was very it was creepy. It was just straight up creepy. So,
at the same time, you can brag about it.
Kind of. Edward Norton. That's the name I was looking for. Ah. So Edward Norton talking with my facial mannerisms, and that was really awkward.
Well, hopefully I don't know if you got to meet the guy, but if you ever did, that's an interesting way to open the conversation.
That is very sure. And he'll either laugh and we'll be best buds, or he'll slowly back away and his security will escort me off the premises. We'll see where it goes.
You're also involved in another new project coming up, No More Heroes. So that's a pretty nice roster. You have the Star Ocean, the international version, or whatever it is they're calling it now. I've heard several names for it, and then the No More Heroes 2, which I believe is No Paradise or something along those lines.
It's Desperate Struggle, I think, is the name for it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
How dare you? How dare you?
I was thinking of the remake they're trying to do for the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, the first one.
Right. No, it's I'm looking forward to. Recorded that last year, and that was a fun project. A lot of really interesting characters. Nothing quite getting to record an effeminate kind of goth rock villain boss character, and then an hour later be recording an otaku comic store owner who's touching himself to hentai. It's just like, well, okay, that's all in a day's work.
You can't make that stuff up.
No, it's just that's that's the lifestyle I lead, I guess. Oh God.
That's so terrible. But I've totally lost my train of thought because now that's all I can think of. That was hilarious.
That's what I do.
Well, thank you. With No More Heroes, it's going to be developed directly for the Wii. Were you able to snatch any gameplay of that, or did they just show you the scenes and it was like, bye?
They just showed us very, very simple early cutscenes and character artwork. We recorded very early in the stage because they wanted to make sure that, thankfully, a lot of more games are coming over from Japan. They're putting a lot more effort into trying to match the Japanese audio, match the English audio, doing lip sync. I think that really detracts from a lot of English dubs, where even when you have good quality dubs, if the lip sync doesn't match the English, it takes away a lot of that presence and storytelling element. So we recorded about a year ago, actually, on that one. So it's I unfortunately didn't get to see much at the time. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see how it turns out.
So you were aware of the game before a good deal of actual people were aware it was even being made.
Correct.
And do they probably make you sign like non-disclosures and things like that? But how long do those usually last?
The usual is to wait until release. Meaning, once the project's been announced, sometimes it's okay to say that you're part of it, but you don't want to specify which character you are generally. Keep that, out of the public eye. Some projects are more lenient than others, and some projects don't even require NDA at all. But usually for more high-profile projects like that, or some of the other projects like Crystal Bears, I can't even talk about until it was released. So it depends from project to project, really.
Well, luckily, No More Heroes 2, from what I know, comes out on the 26th, so you don't have too much more time to wait on that one.
Yay, finally!
You just gotta 2 weeks. Can you hold out? Can you do it?
Can you try?
Now, I've actually been playing Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Crystal Bears. As soon as it came out, I picked up the game, and then I also snatched a few Final Fantasy calendars from my work game store, and I've basically been giving those away as presents.
Nice.
But the game is actually quite fun. Did you have any unique experiences with that one at all?
It was unique. In fact, I wasn't sure what the game was like at all. I played almost all the Final Fantasy since 1. I guess one of the mainstay video game series, and so seeing some of the early videos for it we were recording were very interesting. The style was a little bit different. It seemed to be a little more, how do I put it? Not as serious. It seemed to be a little more having fun and just kind of going through the story. And it wasn't until I saw the release videos from E3 of him floating a giant cow shooting lasers from its udder that I was like, okay, this is a little different than the usual Final Fantasy. But no, it was a lot of fun to do. My character Blaze was great because for some reason I tend to be casting like the young bright-eyed hero roles. The voice of the 21-year-old let's go and save the world kind of characters. And for the Final Fantasy one, I got to be this kind of crotchety, annoying mage named Blaze, who sounds kind of like Mo from The Simpsons. So that was a fun little change of pace.
Well, I know specifically that the main character in that one, he's not fazed by anything. He's being attacked by these monsters and whatnot, and he's just like, whatever. And so even if you were cast as the lead, I don't think it would have been so gung-ho and justice.
That's good to know then. At least you're going more in that direction.
Do you think you'll ever get to play any of these games that you've been voiced in? I know they generally don't give you guys a copy, but do you try and play them?
I tried to. I'm not going to lie, because of Brawl, this last year of video gaming has been practically non-existent, which is why MagFest was so fantastic, and why I've been pretty much playing Dragon Age Origins nonstop for the past week. I'm making up for lost time.
You and every other voice actor.
Oh man, it's been a year. But yeah, I have a stockpile of games I have to get through. I just literally finished Dragon Age Origins this morning before this interview, and my next step is probably going to be probably Crystal Bears. But yeah, I gotta catch up.
I'm not even kidding though. We had Liam O'Brien on, and then we had Gaia Manry from Innovative on, and every time during the break they both talked about Dragon Age Origins, and I think I'm convinced now that that's just the thing that every voice actor is playing right now.
Well, what's cool is giant games like that, like the BioWare titles and a lot of the large-scale sweeping RPGs, that's good work for a lot of voice actors. They have a lot of characters they have to cast in there, and I haven't confirmed yet, but I think one of the dwarf party members is voiced by Steve Bloom, and he does a fantastic job. And that's just like really cool to see people showing up throughout the game. And it's one of those things where, from a voiceover standpoint, it's very fun to hear people that kind of show up in the storyline. And from a gamer standpoint, it's just a fantastic game. It's BioWare. It's guys who made Baldur's Gate. I mean, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, BioWare has always done such a fantastic job. I mean, they have Mass Effect 2 right around the corner. Oh, you sound very excited.
Oh, very much so. I'm not usually a creature, so I find out I'm much more like a high fantasy, Lord of the Rings, I like swords and sorcery, but I really, really dug Mass Effect, and I'm really looking forward to the sequel personally.
Yeah, I think everybody's just giddy about that one, and I think a lot of people are finally getting tired of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, please.
Hey, that one paid some of the bills, so I can't say anything about that.
Oh, I'm sure that paid massive amount of bills to many of the people shouting grenade and whatnot. I work in a very small chain, and we sold 300 in a day, and it's still selling relatively well. It's amazing the massive amount of money that game made.
It'd be really cool if the voice actors got to see any of that, but that's a conversation for another time.
Oh yes, I apologize. We talk about it all the time at work and sometimes on the station. I think the Activision boss made literally like $20 million in the first day of that game.
I used to work for Infinity Ward for about 3 years on Call of Duty 3 and Modern Warfare before I became an actor as a living. So I was very, very involved in the development of those projects from the QA and production side. And so it's really cool to see the game doing very well. But from a voiceover standpoint, the issue we're having right now with AFTRA and SAG and the various unions is there's just no residual structure for voiceover in animation, residual structure for voiceover in interactive. So we can go in there and record, 3 or 4 sessions for a game like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare that ends up becoming the best-selling form of media ever, and voice actors don't see anything extra off that. So we're hopefully going to try and get that rectified over the next, 5 years. But still, it's really cool to be part of a project that's that prominent.
Well, yeah, it definitely gets your name out there along with a lot of other people that were yelling, grenade and duck and watch out. But at the same time, seeing that much of a popular project, it probably really, is satisfying in a way.
Very much so. It was funny, too, because as I hadn't been with the company for a couple of years, and then going in to record and running into people I used to work with on a daily basis that weren't expecting me to come in. That was kind of a fun little meeting there. But it's really cool to be able to say that you are part of a project that is the biggest form of selling media in existence currently. So you could just tap that around, walk down to the local grocery store, and find a small 6-year-old, turn around, and just yell at him, "I was part of this!"
I'm sure the neighborhood loves you.
Oh, very much so.
we're going to go to a very short break. We'll be back right away, and you can find out all the awesome ways to stalk Matt Mercer. Because why wouldn't you?
Oh God.
Only on 918 The Fan. Stay tuned.
918thefan.com. Have you logged on today?
Who, me? No. No?
iStock's daily news show, video reviews, articles, forums, in an anime directory. Don't get left behind. Log in today. Only on
918thefan.com?
918thefan.com.
All right, 918thefan.com.
And we're back. You're tuned in to the Kana's Corner on 918 The Fan. If you missed the Matt Mercer interview, he's still here just for a little bit, but you can catch it up on the website at 918thefan.com. Don't miss it. I'll smack you.
I'll smack you too. We'll both smack you.
Oh wow, it'll be like a brutal fight.
A dangerous showdown, if you will. Best you might, that whole thing.
It will be thoroughly and intense and gory and bloody, and it's not safe for children.
Maybe a little fancy.
But I essentially wanted to ask, do you have any, upcoming projects that you wanted to touch upon?
There's a lot that I can't talk about, and that's frustrating. And I'm sure you guys are used to hearing that from other people on this show. But I'll probably be popping on in the future when those become more readily available, if they'll have me. Of
course we will. We'll miss you too much.
Oh, anytime, please. Just let me know. As far as projects, definitely go check out if you get a chance. I have a web series I've been doing with my writing partner Jack called Fear News with The Last Girl. That's on fearnet.com for any of you who are fans of the horror industry out there at all. It's a horror news show, a weekly news show that basically gives you information about the horror industry, films in production, who's being cast and what, but within an actual horror film. Envision a woman covered in blood and mud, crying and screaming, running down a hallway that's darkly lit, trips over a body and looks down, and it's her dead boyfriend. Looks over her shoulder, and a hulking figure is storming after her down the hall with a giant machete. She gets up and runs, hits a door, and it's locked. She's slamming her shoulder into it, looks over her shoulder, it's coming closer and closer. She finally breaks through the door, slams it behind her, locks it, bolts it shut, turns and looks towards the camera and goes, "Saw 6 and 7 have been confirmed for production. No word yet if Lionsgate is going to go ahead and get the film released by the next year, but DVD rights are supposedly going to come forward." So it's a new show within the actual horror film with a very cinematic style to it, and we do a different genre each week. We do a Hitchcock black and white one week. We do a slasher thriller from the 70s one week. We'll do a space thriller. So it's pretty fun, and you can check that out at fearnet.com.
See, now I just want to listen to you be like a horror narrator because that was awesome.
I just do what I can. But yeah, that's been a lot of fun. We have a couple other internet projects coming up, and of course, we'll have news coming up on therewillbebrawl.com in the coming weeks to discuss the possibility of DVDs. We're still working through that scenario, but keep an eye out for it if you can. Also, all that DVD will include an extensive blooper reel. I mean extensive, about like 15 to 20 minutes long blooper reel, which you definitely have to check out. Also, let's see what else is there going on. So many things I can't talk about. You're killing me. We have other projects in the works with both FearNet and some other endeavors. Our wonderful agent, Brandon Martinez, Abrams Artist Agency, is getting a lot of really cool projects in our midst right now. After Brawl, post-Brawl. We're calling it post-Brawl. It's like a war for us. So I guess I'll be coming on in the near future to discuss those as they become readily available. I myself am in recovery mode post-Brawl.
Well, wonderfully enough, you had sort of the holidays to sleep and gain some momentum there, but...
I did, kind of. I got to lay down a lot and was going to play games, and then my projector bulb burst on my projector screen.
Oh.
So it was a lot of hanging out with my roommate's family and eating bad food, or delicious food that's bad for you. And then actually spent New Year's at MagFest, which this isn't shameless promotion. This is me just telling you guys out there that are listening. MagFest is awesome. If you like games and if you like music, you need to go because it was really cool. We had a wonderful Brawl panel there. We showed the whole series back to back, and I got so drunk that I don't remember the second panel.
Do you think you'll be getting drunk at any other conventions?
Not to that extent. I don't drink very often. It's usually just socially and well, not to that extent. But yeah, like I got really drunk at MagFest, and apparently videos of the second brawl panel wound up on YouTube. And for most of them, I don't have a shirt on. I don't know how that happened, but that should give you an idea of how awesome MagFest was. So definitely check it out next year if you get a chance.
And, okay, maybe I'll rephrase the question. Do you have any conventions coming up later in 2010?
As far as I know, yes, actually. I'm hosting Anime Matsuri, which is in Texas. I'll be hosting that convention, emceeing events, and running a couple panels probably. Then also Anime Expo in Los Angeles, helping host the Masquerade, as well as run a couple other events as well. That's all I have on my current schedule, if you will. But if more are to come, you can check it out on my website, or keep tabs on me on Facebook or Twitter. I don't have something currently. My Twitter I barely ever update, so don't worry about that. But Facebook, you can find me under Matthew Mercer. Just do a search. Feel free to friend me and say hello. And my website is www.matthewmerceronline.com. And once again, as soon as I get my computer working again, I'll be updating it, and you guys will hear me ranting about uninteresting elements of my life that I feel I need to get out of my chest. So.
Well, hopefully we'll see you at Anime Expo. But I have a 918 The Fan tradition that I was hoping you'd take part in.
Okay.
It's not dangerous, I swear.
Damn. Okay.
We were wondering if we could get a bump from you.
Certainly. What would you need from me?
Oh, we were wondering if you could say, my name is Matthew Mercer or Matt Mercer, whichever you prefer. I do so-and-so. You can name a character you voice or anything like that. And you're tuned into 918 The Fan.
Hey, this is Matthew Mercer, voice of Edge Maverick from Star Ocean and Fei Long from Street Fighter 4, and you're tuning in to 918 The Fan.
Thank you. That was awesome.
That work for you?
Yes, it does. We'll play it on constant loop for the next 24 hours.
I would not recommend that, but yeah, to each their own.
Well, no, I'm just saying we'll probably be playing it a lot, and we appreciate all the time that you spent with us today.
Hey, well, thank you for having me. It's been a blast.
Not at all, and we hope that we'll see you in the future. For those of you that missed it, this was Matthew Mercer, and you're tuned in to Kana Shimi's Corner. Stay tuned.